The tree is up. I'm so excited. It always feels more festive and like the holidays are just around the corner when the tree is finally up. I'm wearing red to really drive in the holiday cheer, the holiday feels. I feel like as a redhead, I never used to wear red. I was always told like redheads should never wear red for some reason, but if you're a redhead watching, you wear red, okay? You wear what you wanna wear, okay? I wanna thank you for coming to my channel. If you're part of your chronic illness journey, I'm so happy that you're here with me to kind of go through my journey with me as well, and it makes me feel less alone, and I really do appreciate it. So if you're liking what you see, please feel free to like and subscribe. I wanted to dive into some myths that are pretty common around endometriosis. These are some myths that have been debunked, but they still kind of creep up from here and there, and they're misconceptions that lead individuals to think one thing when in fact it's actually not true. So I want to dive into those items today. If you hear of other myths, it's a hard word to say, myths. If you hear other myths or misconceptions around endometriosis that aren't covered in this video, please feel free to pop them in the comment box. Anything helps those in their endo journey kind of navigate things that are maybe true or not true. So yeah, that really does help if you want to pop it in the comment box. Myth number one is that endometriosis only impacts the pelvic region. It is not true. It is not true. Endometriosis is a full body disease. It is not just impacting the pelvic region. So a lot of times you might hear misconceptions that endo is a reproductive disease. It only impacts the pelvic region, and it's been found actually on every visceral organ in the human body. So your bladder, your kidneys, lungs, it can be found in the brain. Some individuals have found it in nasal cavities. These are sad truths that come with endometriosis. So it is a full body disease, and it doesn't just impact the pelvic region. It does impact the pelvic region for sure, but it doesn't just impact that specific part of your body. Myth number two, which is something that I didn't really know until starting to do some research, but endometriosis is not always painful. Who knew? Endometriosis, a lot of individuals discover that they have endo based on painful periods. Now, painful periods is a sign of endometriosis, but it's not the only sign or symptom that can lead to a suspected diagnosis. Some individuals have no pain with endometriosis. They grow up having regular periods, regular menstrual cycles. They just kind of have a normal period and only discover that they are suffering with endometriosis when they try to conceive or try to have a baby. Infertility is unfortunately a symptom and sign of endometriosis. So if you are having troubles conceiving or are suffering with miscarriages, number one, know that my heart is with you. I cannot imagine the journey that you've been on with that. But know that if you haven't really experienced pain before trying to conceive and you're having some struggles, it might be a good idea to investigate endometriosis, because that is one of many chronic illnesses that can be impacting. It's not to say that you can't fall pregnant. I know that individuals who have endo have also been able to conceive and have beautiful babies. So don't be super concerned, but it is something to kind of keep aware of if you are suffering with miscarriages or having trouble conceiving or have discovered infertility. It's a good time to talk to your doctor about a potential endo diagnosis. If you're not experiencing pain, that's a good sign. I'm happy that you're not in pain. The endometriosis flare-ups are excruciating. They are on the list of the National Health Service's top 20 painful chronic conditions an individual can live with. So if you're not experiencing pain, know that is amazing. I'm so happy for you. But if you are having trouble conceiving, that can be a sign of endo. So, a myth that we need to debunk is that if you're not experiencing pain, it doesn't necessarily mean you're endo free. Myth number three, if you do become pregnant, a common myth is that your endometriosis pain and flare-ups don't happen when you're pregnant. And for some individuals, that may be the case. Their endometriosis flare-ups reduce. They actually have a lot of pain-free days. They're not in excruciating pain, which is wonderful. But a myth that is, needs to be debunked is that even if you do fall pregnant, you can still suffer with endometriosis pain. A lot of the times individuals have stated that when the uterus expands to make room for the baby, it can cause scar tissue to stretch and it can be very painful, or adhesions to stretch and it can be very painful. So adhesions are just bands of fibrous scar tissue that can connect organs together. It can connect other structures in the human body to connect together. So it's important to realize that if you do fall pregnant, it doesn't necessarily mean that the endo pain will dissipate. Myth number 4, I think we're on 4, is that endometriosis does not impact young individuals. So it doesn't impact individuals in grade 5 or when they start the period up into teenage years. Endometriosis pain can be experienced when you are young. When you first have your first period, you can have a sign of endometriosis. It's not just a 26 to whatever age disease or illness. It does impact individuals that are young, and you can experience that pain. So if you do have a young little one in your family and they are stating that they're experiencing excruciating period pain or chronic fatigue or aches and pains or leg pain, it's important to recognize that during their menstrual cycle, this can be a sign of endometriosis and they should be believed. It's a misconception that it only impacts those that are in, have had their period for a long period of time, but that's not necessarily the case, and that's definitely a myth. So please believe those, and please support those in your family or in your community, or if you're a teacher. If you do have a student that's complaining of period pain, it's important to get some support and resources for them in their journey. Myth number 5 is that you can remove your uterus and ovaries and you won't have endometriosis anymore. It's not the case. Unfortunately, some individuals have been told this and they have full hysterectomies, or they have, their ovaries removed and they still suffer with endometriosis pain. You cannot have a uterus and still feel endo pain, unfortunately. So again, endometriosis is a full body disease and it does impact other areas of your body. So removing the uterus and ovaries doesn't necessarily mean that endometriosis is still not present in your body. Okay, myth number 6, which you will probably hear, and it's a very common myth, which has been debunked, and let's debunk it again. So the myth is that endometriosis is the endometrium. Now, these are two big words that are often used to describe each other when in fact they are totally different things. So let's break it down. The endometrium is the inner lining of the uterus. It's that tissue that thickens, breaks down, and sheds, and that's your menstrual cycle. And oftentimes the myth is that people thought that endometriosis was that tissue, that it was the tissue found in your uterus that just happened to grow outside of your uterus. And that is not right. Endometriosis is a totally different tissue than the endometrium. The histology between endometriosis and endometrium are different. Histology just means that it's the branch of biology that studies the microscopic anatomy of a biological tissue. The tissue that creates endometriosis is separate than the tissue that creates the endometrium. Number 7 is that there is a way to prevent or cure endometriosis. Now, unfortunately, the sad reality is that currently there is no cure for endometriosis. Another myth with endometriosis, unfortunately, is that endometriosis stops after menopause, when in fact, a lot of individuals that have menopause continue to have endometriosis pain. So it's something to be aware of in your endo journey, that you may experience pain or irritation after menopause. So those are some myths associated with endometriosis. Unfortunately, I feel like when I'm talking about the myths, I feel like they hold a lot of hope within them. I know that, it would be great to not suffer with infertility, and it would be great to, have no pain after menopause. But unfortunately, when I'm talking about the myths and debunking them, I feel like it's kind of like a heavy reality that comes with an endometriosis diagnosis, that there are, symptoms and things that we have to deal with on an ongoing basis, and that can be heavy to take. So I feel like please reach out to your support network if you are experiencing some heaviness in your journey. It can be hard to have an endo diagnosis, and I want you to know that life doesn't stop with an endometriosis diagnosis. yes, you have to kind of go through the motions and figure out the things that work for you and your unique body. And an endo diagnosis doesn't mean that your dreams have to stop. It doesn't mean that you can't do the things that you want to do. Yes, you might have to manage how you approach those things that you want to do, but I really hope that you continue to do the things that you want to do. And I'm in it with you. We're in it together, and there are so many, 1 in 10 individuals suffer with endo, and I'm sure there's probably more because the research is out on endo. There needs to be more funding and support for it. So I hope that this video helps in your journey. I will be here to help you in your journey wherever you need it. And if there's anything you'd like me to cover, please comment it down in the comment box. I would love to cover it and do my own research on it, so it helps me in my journey as well. And with that, I hope you have a flare-free day and get out there, enjoy life, do the things you want to do. And today, treat yourself to something that you want. So if it's a coffee, if it's a walk at the lake, if it's something, enjoy your journey. Please don't let endometriosis stop you from doing the things that you want to do in life, okay? So do it today, okay? I will talk to you on the next one.